I have over 20 different updates for you here about the Google Home, the Google Nest products, and the Google Assistant. So let's get going. Hello Automators, thanks for tuning in again. I'm Brian from Automate Your Life, and today I'm going to take the frustration out of automation by doing the same thing I do every Sunday here on Automate Your Life, and that is giving you the smart home news so you can use your products in the best ways possible. One of the features that people are so excited about right now is the ability for Google Assistant to read what's on a page back to you. Now, let me show you a demonstration of this on my Google Pixel 4 with the Google Assistant on board.
From Automate Your Life, Wise Smart Home Plug WLPP1 Review. Wise Labs has developed its own version of the Smart Home Plug, the Wise Smart Home Plug WLPP1. Features: you would need to integrate the Wise plug into Google Assistant or Amazon Alexa. You can then use the Wise app or your voice commands to power up the device remotely. Schedules: the Wise app will provide configurations for routines, shortcuts, or vacation mode. Triggers: like most of the Wise family of products, you can also make the Wise plug respond to triggers with other Wise products such as the Wise Cam or Wise Sense. You can use the contact or motion sensors or even...
I think it's every week that I get a question about being able to broadcast to a certain Google Home device, and guys, it is coming. It is finally actually coming. What you might find is the next time you try and use the broadcast service, you might get a response back from your Google Assistant on any of your devices that you can actually broadcast to a specific device. The syntax is very simple. Unfortunately, I can't show you this one, but it is broadcast to and then your device name, and that's how you can go ahead and see if you're able to do that today. Now, this is coming in small select testing groups right now, but it is being rolled out. Now, there are a few leaks of Google's hardware products out there right now that I think are really important to tell you about. The Google Pixel 4a appears to be fully leaked, and we're getting used to this with Google smartphones, but that device has a couple of updates and upgrades that people are really excited about. I'm always excited to see these new phones from Google, and I love what they're doing with their budget lineup there, but you guys will probably be more excited about what looks to be a Google branded Nvidia Shield or an upgrade of the Chromecast and Chromecast Ultra devices, because it will have Android TV on it. The reason I take this leak so seriously, because Google hasn't said anything about this device yet, but if you look into the source code inside of Fuchsia, you will find a device called Lewis. Now, Lewis has the right chip on it in order to be used in Android TV boxes. So this is the right series. It's called a VideoSmart VS680, and that type of chip is used in other Android boxes. You smell.
Even if you smelt it, I'll take the blame for delting it.
Now, as of late, I've been telling people to maybe hold off on a Google Nest Hub, so the smaller version of this. The reason is, again, if you're looking into the source code of Fuchsia, it appears that we are going to get a refresh of the Nest Hub in just a few months' time. Now, the processor has a slight update to it, but that slight update gives the Google Nest Hub, or what we think is the Google Nest Hub, the ability to do AI processing. So number one, that's an improvement on the existing processor, probably helps it do more of the Nest Aware type of things, some of that local processing, and helps with putting the Google Assistant right on the device. But I would expect something as well as a camera to show up on the Google Nest Hub, the smaller version here now. Help me wash my hands.
Wash, wash, wash your hands for 40 seconds, please. Soap will chase the germs away so you don't cough and sneeze.
Despite Google I/O being canceled, I do see a number of products coming out still around that time, so let's go through a few of those. A Chrome OS tablet with the Google Assistant on board, despite earlier issues with Pixel slates and devices like that. We should see that. The new Pixel Buds should still come around that time frame, although we could see delays because of the supply chain issues that the world is having right now. Now, I'm also seeing the makings of some new Nest sensors, different sensor types, and also new Nest cameras and Nest Hello devices coming out from Google, if not right in that time frame, then later in the year. So we are seeing those devices start to line up and be ready for inclusion in your Google Assistant, your Google Home, and Google Nest product. Now, here's something that kind of lends itself to what I just said. Sensors have been added as a device type. One thing that is missing from the different sensor types is motion sensors. So right now you still don't have those, but you do also have 3 other device types that were added: water softeners, water purifiers, and carbon monoxide detectors, which kind of paves the way for our Nest Protects to finally get properly integrated into our Google Home product. What's the temperature in the entry?
It's currently 20.5 degrees.
What's the temperature in the fridge?
The fridge temp is currently 0.5 degrees.
Now, just because I like to play with your emotions and also because I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, I'm going to let Montana talk to you guys about the current and ongoing issue with Google Home products and their Bluetooth capability.
Hey guys, if you're one of those people who have been using Bluetooth with your Google Home or Google Nest product, then I'm sure you've been experiencing some repeat disconnections. There is no fix for this issue right now, but just like any other company, Google needs feedback in order to fix the issues they have with their product. How do you do that? Well, I'm here to tell you the specifics. Speak to your device and say, "Hey, send feedback." Then say, "GHT3 Bluetooth in keeps on disconnect." That's it. If you want to upvote on this as an issue that Google should address, then follow the link below. That's all I have for now. Back to Brian.
Now let's get back to some of the positive updates here from Google, and we're going to see some improvements in the Google Home application. Now, number one, Google is talking about improvements in terms of shortcuts for turning on and off your lighting. Now, additionally, what I have noticed personally here in just the last week is an incredibly fast response in terms of either issuing commands in the Google Home application, talking to the Google Assistant, but anytime I issue a command now about lighting, what I'm finding is before the Google Assistant actually responds, the action has executed. So this is definitely being done locally on many of your Google Home devices, and the command is being sent to the partner devices, and it feels like locally here. So let's watch. Turn on the accent lighting.
Sure, turning on 3 lights.
Turn off the accent lighting.
Sure, turning off 3 lights.
Now you guys saw how fast that was. It was incredibly fast. Now that's through a hub, so you would kind of expect that, but that's still faster than I've experienced in the past. And I'll tell you what, my Wyze lighting is just as fast. So this is Wi-Fi based, hub based. It is executing before the command goes to the cloud. Now there are some other updates inside the application. So number one, when you change a smart plug to the word light, or you include the word light in a smart plug, it will actually change icons and get included now in terms of your smart home lighting. That's a big change there. You'll also now see Nest Cam events showing up in your feed page. Now this is very important and starts to bring more into that feed page, because we kind of went down from 4 tabs in the Google Home app to 2, and that feed page has been relatively unused. But you will now find those events in that page as well, and you can review them right in app. I love you.
Wow, if you love me, you must think I'm really helpful. Best day ever.
One of the things that I think a lot of people are not using right now is the ability to receive Google Duo calls. Now, this is very important to a lot of people because in your home you probably have unlimited Wi-Fi or unlimited internet access, or at least a lot more than your cell phone. Now, people can make video calls and they can make audio calls to your Google Home and your Google Nest devices. So I'm going to show you a demonstration here of how that can happen. What you need to do is head into services within the main settings page, and then you can go into voice and video calls and then choose the devices that can receive Duo calls. If you don't have anything on this page related to Duo, you might be able to set that up now depending on your country, and then you can start using this feature. Now, people that you know can make calls to any of those speakers that you've allowed, any smart display speaker, and of course it's going to ring on your Android phone with Google Duo or your iPhone with Google Duo on it. So you have the ability to receive these data-based calls instead. Now, if someone makes a video phone call to you with their cell phone, say, and you pick up on a Nest Mini, then they will have the video interface up. They can't see you, but you can speak to them. It becomes a Google Duo audio call. So very nice feature for you guys to use, and I think more people should be doing this.
Call for Brian. It's from Brian.
Another update that's come out from Google is called Ambient Iq. Now, this will mean that the volume will actually raise on your speakers if the noise in your room gets louder. So what you will have this work on, unfortunately, not music. They decided not to do that, but other kind of spoken word things like podcasts, audiobooks, and news. So let's try this.
To create its own bank in the state of Utah. Square says it expects to launch its bank, named Square Financial Services, in 2021. This new bank will offer small business dates.
It's ordered cafes, pubs, and restaurants to close after tonight. It's also offering to
John Legend's voice will be removed on March 23rd, so you're not going to be able to hear that sultry voice. I'm sure my celebrity voice is coming to the Google Assistant. I just don't know exactly when. But the Pixel stand, and we talked about this in our last updates, that chargers were being added as a device type into the Google Home and Google Assistant. Now the Pixel stand is getting added additionally there, and what it will be given is more of the ambient mode capabilities around it. So it will be added as a device type, and you'll be able to get a ton of information. But the difference between this and normal ambient mode that we are seeing on other Android devices is that it's going to give you an additional interface for controlling your smart home. So there's going to be a focus on controlling lights and thermostats and other smart home devices directly when you put your Pixel device into the Pixel stand. Let's shift over to a few updates about Google Assistant enabled Android phones. Now, if you go into the Google Home application, you go into settings, more settings, and you go into Assistant and then continued conversations, you're going to see a different slider here now. So your phone is actually capable of turning on and off continued conversations separately from your other Google Home devices. Next up is the ability to actually schedule dark theme. Now, what they've given you in terms of options right now is either turn it off or on, but they've also given you the ability to now schedule it between sunset and sunrise, so you can have that dark theme come up. Now, the nice thing about Pixel settings and Android settings in general is that you can search for dark theme, and that will bring up this settings page very quickly for you. Speaking of searching, and I can't show you this one yet because it hasn't happened, but one of the biggest issues with the Google Home application is you will struggle finding all these different settings, and I'm really excited for this, but they are turning the settings page into the same thing as those Pixel settings that I talked to you about. You will get a search bar, so you will have the ability to search for what kind of setting or what kind of capability you are looking for in the Google Home and the Google Assistant applications. One thing that's coming to the Google Home application as we build up to the Nest Aware subscription packages, changing over to the new subscription model and getting the ability to use our Google Home devices as additional security is the ability to make emergency phone calls. Now, this was actually unearthed by Jane Wong, who does this. She does this as a side hobby, and she actually back engineers or reverse engineers applications and software. Now, really interesting person to follow on Twitter, so I'll leave that down below. But what she found was the ability to make those emergency calls and have your address included. On the channel, I have created a massive comparison of Google Assistant, Amazon's voice assistant, and Apple's voice assistant, and it is indexed and broken up into segments, so you can go and find out which of the voice assistants are the best for your smart home, or whether or not you want to put a few of those in. So go ahead, click on that. Otherwise, watch some of our smart home news, guys. There's a ton more coming on Automate Your Life, and there's probably some videos you haven't seen yet. So thanks for watching, everyone, and of course, don't hate, automate.